In this video, we will go over creating trips and vehicle inspections to the eTrack application. The eTrack application is trip-centric. A driver and a vehicle must be placed on a trip in order for the system to track correctly. Those trips are the tracking mechanism in the application, and that ties everything together. The driver is also responsible for doing 2 vehicle inspections per day per vehicle that they drive, 1 pre-trip vehicle inspection and 1 post-trip at the end of their day. All of that can be accomplished by using the Trips and Inspections button. At the beginning of the day, the driver must create a trip and do a pre-trip vehicle inspection. When they go into the trip screen or the vehicle inspection list screen, they'll notice that all trips are closed and complete at the start of their day. They'll simply click the button to add an inspection, and because there are no trips created, the driver will be brought into the trip creation screen. There are only a few fields that are required to be filled in for the driver to actually create a trip. Those required fields are the trip type. Now, this is a default that can be carried across at the time of trip creation that is set by the administrators on the website end, on the internal end of the application. This not only tells the system which trip type this trip will be for the driver, but it also snaps in place the correct rule set. Now, the driver has the ability to override this setting if the driver happens to be going on another type of a trip. So in other words, if a driver or a company, a motor carrier, is primarily long haul, but the driver takes an occasional short haul trip, at the time of trip creation, the driver has the ability to select the correct trip type from the drop-down menu, and that would also snap in place that secondary rule set. The only other field that's required for creating trips is the vehicle that the driver will be driving. Now, this is something that can also be defaulted by this system. Up to 2 drivers can be defaulted to any vehicle, and in that case, that information would also carry across at the time of trip creation. But if necessary, the driver can select a vehicle from the drop-down list of available vehicles. These 2 fields are all that is required to be entered for the driver to create a trip. However, the driver can enter all of the other relevant trip information if necessary. Trailer number, bill of lading, shipper, and commodity information can all be entered at this time. The driver also has the ability to select a second driver if this is a team driving situation. Our system makes it very easy for drivers to switch driving responsibilities back and forth between the drivers, and switching drivers or giving a secondary driving responsibility doesn't place that driver into drive duty status automatically. It simply tells the system which driver to credit with driving once the vehicle begins moving again. When all of the required information is entered for the trip, the driver simply saves the trip or clicks the Save Trip button. Now, all of that typically takes the driver just a few seconds to complete. It takes much longer to explain how the system works. And once the trip has been saved, the driver is brought into the pre-trip vehicle inspection. You'll notice that I will enter a manual odometer reading in the starting odometer field. However, if ECM values are able to be passed from the vehicle to the application, this will be an automated feature, and the application will simply take the odometer reading directly off the ECM. The driver will then take the mobile device and walk around the vehicle, checking off anything that is broken on the truck or the vehicle, the trailer, or the emergency equipment. And checking off any of these boxes signifies a failed vehicle inspection. And that is what triggers the second automated alert in the system that has to do with failed inspections. Now, that could be sent back to whoever's designated internally to receive those alerts, such as a mechanic or a repair shop. The driver also has the ability to enter any inspection notes. Anything that the driver enters into this screen will be seen by internal users once the driver signs off on the inspection. And when the driver has entered all relevant information, the driver simply goes to the sign-off sheet and clicks Sign Off. Now that will do a couple of things. First, that will create the trip. It'll also add the trip inspection to the list of vehicle inspections. And it'll also kick off the automation in the system. The driver will automatically be placed into on-duty not driving. And from this point forward, the driver will simply be placed automatically into drive duty status when the vehicle starts moving, and will also be placed automatically back into on-duty not driving when the vehicle comes to a stop again. At the end of the day, the driver simply has to repeat the process and create a post-trip vehicle inspection. You simply go into the Add Inspection screen once again, either enter a manual odometer, or if, once again, we could grab the odometer reading off of the ECM, this will be automated. The driver then walks around the vehicle, again checking off any boxes only for things that are broken on the vehicle, the trailer, or the emergency equipment. The driver has the ability to enter any inspection notes necessary once again. And when finished, the driver then signs off on the sign-off sheet. Now this will do a couple of things. This will close the trip. This will also empty the vehicle inspections from the vehicle inspection list. And it also turns off or ends the automation in the application. So the driver is now placed into the off-duty duty status. The driver is now ready to turn the system off, and their day has been complete.